Find it.
I mean, but why did you want to talk about it?
Remember the whole Cuomo thing, and he was saying he was trying
Yeah,
to.
is Cuomo connected to this?
He keeps ignoring them.
The machine would come. It was a backhoe, and it would dump the sand.
Yeah, can we put something on the screen so people can see? Is it this one?
I don't know how to get it up there.
Yeah,
No, it's a drone that flew up just recently.
So can you explain
Because
to
the
people what
guy
you're looking at?
left, the guy, oh sorry, that was explaining it because they've been flying drones, I think, and trying to figure
Over
out
what?
over the location. Oh, sorry.
Over where? You have to explain it to the people who can't see it.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to make it stop.
Just scroll past it.
My name is Vincent.
No, sorry, I'm too tech retarded. I don't know how to get the video. I have to go find it.
But do you want to talk about it?
Well, I just wonder what's going on everywhere with the. Why don't they just let them go?
Trump doesn't want to let them go.
I know, I heard him. It's like he'd rather give them a death sentence. That's what they're doing to all of them, all the old ones. It's like, get the new labor in, the new slaves.
All right, well, should we... I guess we can wait 15 minutes and talk about stimulus package. What?
Look, 1979. That's why I kept this sweater. This is the year I debuted. This is
So,
established.
I guess we can talk about this really quick. Do you,
Wouldn't it be great if Joe Rogan had Trump on his podcast?
So yeah, that's an interesting thing. Do you think so? So Joe Rogan came out and he talked about how he would vote for Bernie Sanders. That lighter doesn't work. Just throw that away. Where's the? You had one.
I know, I probably put it in the pocket. Well, yeah, so Joe Rogan what?
He came out in support of Bernie Sanders, but then now that it looks like Trump or Biden is going to be the nominee, this is what he has to say.
Guess I'm voting for Trump.
Oh, you find it?
So has he declined the Green Party
I don't know.
invitation? Oh.
This is the real issue with the Democratic Party. They've essentially made us all morons.
Yeah.
With this Joe Biden thing. They really have. They've
you
made us all
imagine?
morons.
Who do we need? I mean,
I can't vote for that guy.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for Trump.
Like, fall over.
Dude, I'd rather vote for Trump than him. I don't think he could handle anything. I mean, you're relying entirely on his cabinet. Like, if you want to talk about an individual leader that can communicate, he can't do that. And we don't even know what the fuck he's going to be like after a year in office. This is.
Is he gonna make it to year 2? You're gonna prop him up.
I think yeah. So I think
Like a pop out.
Joe Rogan is a good maybe like middle. He doesn't really seem like he's a Democrat or a Republican.
The Democrats are the middle.
Well, but he.
You think he's left?
I think no. I don't think he's left or right. I
I think
think
he's just like, yeah.
I think the Democrats that because there was some fallout when Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders. Like even AOC stopped campaigning for him because she wanted him to I guess reject the endorsement because of some transphobic quotes that Joe Rogan had made. But that was in the context of sports. Like you can't have a man competing as a woman against women.
Yeah, because I'm like, you can't negate biological factors.
Well, no. So I think what the Democrats did was they assumed I don't know, Joe Rogan was like an outlier on the right when he's actually much closer to the center of like independents that they have to persuade to vote for them if they want to beat Trump.
Wait, what?
So they think Joe Biden, or they think like AOC thinks maybe Joe Rogan is so on the right that she doesn't need his vote, or she doesn't need to appease to that audience.
His audience.
Right. So she would rather
But his
Bernie.
audience isn't a right audience.
Right, but she would rather Bernie reject the endorsement and her not campaign for him anymore than her actually accept the endorsement of Joe Rogan. So do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was almost like they look for any excuse to discount Joe Rogan because of some quotes that he made, but he's actually the exact type of person that they need to convince during the election to vote for Joe Biden if they want to win.
But then you can't convince them.
No, I know. It's like
Why would he can see him. Like, we can all see him and how he's functioning.
yeah.
Why do we want to be just go for him just to win? Like, what?
Well, so do you want to see a taste of what Trump will do to Joe Biden, or what
I already
kind
know.
of
Look what he does to everybody. I'm like,
thing? No, I know, but let's. There's a reporter that
Dog.
there was a reporter that brought up Joe Biden attacked you, Trump, and what do you have to say? And this was I think yesterday. It was very recent. And so this is what Trump has to say in regards to any attack that Joe Biden has against Trump will be met with this. Sorry, that was wrong. Here we go.
Joe Biden actually just attacked you in a tweet. I don't know if you have seen it.
He just what?
Attacked you. He just said.
Well, he
that
didn't write
Donald-
anything. Look, he has people, he has professionals from the Democrats
Mr. President, let
writing.
me just read what he said. He said Donald Trump is not responsible for the coronavirus, but he is responsible for failing to prepare our nation to respond to it. How do you respond
Okay.
to that, sir?
He didn't write that. That was done by a Democrat operative. He doesn't write. He doesn't, he's probably not even watching right now. And if he is, he doesn't understand what he's watching.
He already knows that because that's what they try to get him to do. Read the stuff he's been given. He won't do it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
That's why I'm like, you need Bernie. If Bernie does the same stuff, he can.
well, the point
he
is,
can
it's
fight
like
back, and it'll be hilarious.
I think everyone can see maybe the capacity now that Joe Biden has, and it's capacity to
lack of
engage. Exactly. Like he's not the same Joe Biden as like 2016 or the entire
How
like.
many strokes did he have?
Well,
Since I don't like. And how old is he?
it's just I mean, just can you even imagine a situation where he can out debate Trump? It's like.
That's why I said
It's
he's not gonna
inconceivable.
win. He's not gonna
Absolutely.
win.
And so it's like they've already.
No, it's because you won't vote for him. I'm like, I'm not gonna vote for a person who might die
It's
on
like-
us.
Yeah, it's like because you won't
guess
vote,
everybody
vote
can
for him is not a way for you to get people to vote for them. That candidate has to go out and earn your vote, and Joe Biden isn't out earning anyone's vote. And it's like you have to vote for him because we have to get rid of Trump isn't a reason to vote for anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Why is that the platform? They just want you to hate Trump.
They want their Wall Street warmongering party to be in office, not the other Wall Street
They want the
warmongering
priority
party.
list changed so that they make more money.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
The
should
ones
run as
behind the
Republican.
Democrats so that they make more money rather than the ones. Yeah.
All right. Well, this seems like.
So
a
are
good-
the bailout ballots going or no? He's still lagging his feet on that.
It's not the
Well,
general.
I don't know why. He already
The
said
primaries aren't even over yet, and so they still have time to figure out what they're going to do for the general. They're only planning like
it. He's just gonna wait to see who the Democrats.
Stay at home is going to be extended every month. You know what I mean? They're never going to have like a 3-month stay at home. Everything is
The
just.
governor already told us all the schools are out.
No, I know, but federal
we're
government's only stay at home till like April 30th. That's what I'm saying. The federal government's only doing a month at a time.
States are already not listening, and we're in California.
No, Georgia.
I said we're in California.
No, yeah,
You know how many
Georgia
times
already
we
lifted.
fought against like federal stuff because we're like, you're Who's our governor? Oh wait, Governor Newsom? I don't know much.
Who's choosing to house all the homeless now that we have a pandemic when he could have done it the entire time?
No one's gonna do it for free.
That's right. You're not gonna get anything from anyone. You gotta take it.
Oh
That's what Jeff
geez.
Bezos did. And it's worked out for him pretty well so far.
So far,
Where are my saved
time
files?
will tell.
Come on, where am I saved? I hope I saved this one. There we go.
Oh, reopen the beaches? Dang. They don't want to miss out on spring break and summer.
God damn you, Washington Post. Okay, hold on.
You get your news from the Washington Post?
No, I get my news from a feed of a lot of things.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you can read it as long as you like go
I-
verify who.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm not a journalist.
anyone that reports the news.
I don't know.
Stop. This is what's going on in Georgia. Stupid and crazy. Local officials protest Governor Kemp's decision to reopen beaches in hard-hit Georgia.
How are they going to protest?
Oh, that's a great question. People are protesting in LA.
I know. How? Are they going out there?
They're in their cars. we'll cover that. We'll cover that
Let's go
after the
join.
next. We're gonna cover that after the next.
I've only
420.
been
It's gonna
in
be great.
marches in Cuba, so I've never seen one in the. Oh no, I went to Washington D.C. once for a rally.
I had woken up early today to work on that story, and I had realized my editing software had expired, and I had to like go to the bank to take money out to put it in another bank account so I could start the subscription. That's okay. It got done. I'm very proud of the story. Oh, this seems like a good time for a meme. We got 5 minutes to the next 420. Yeah. I wish I had saved.
How come? Great. Now the people who are on Plaquenil, what if they can't get their meds?
You saw this one, right? Let's see. Solomon Giorgio. Solomon Giorgio says, there are some benefits to being black. For instance, I don't waste time being surprised by what the government does. Truth.
We should have been listening to them for a long time. We could have prepared for a long.
What have they been saying though? I mean, yeah.
That we'd be getting screwed over. That they've been. We're a little on the lighter side of things, so.
Let's see. Aha, here we go.
Oh, so his name is Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
He was there when, on the other ones too. On the like epidemics.
Oh, I have another clip of him talking about, because when he became a doctor, it was during the time of the New York
And he quite literally will
AIDS.
suit up and go
AIDS and HIV epidemic. Yeah, he's very
go
familiar.
to the front lines, check it out, see what, you know.
Every time you see someone outside that's not supposed to be outside.
You pretend you're invisible.
You're not supposed to be outside.
I said, I'm delivering weed. I'm essential. Get out of my way.
It's true. The best time to smoke weed.
And
It's
let
all the time.
all the previous essential suppliers out of jail.
I know. I wonder how many people are dying in the prisons.
For stuff that now is deemed essential.
Sorry, I'm putting the alarms
Oh,
on.
I
I already. Okie dokes. Almost there.
So it's still glitchy at the bottom, huh? I mean, like,
Yeah, it seems.
right here.
Oh, it's probably because it's reflective. Anything that's reflective of
it's
the green
not-
is gonna be kind of glitchy. I will. It has been performing pretty well though.
Yeah, no, it hasn't lagged. Did you change the camera? How come this green is on?
It's on because the FaceTime camera's on. It shows right here.
Oh.
Let's see, 40 seconds till 4:20. On what was that? Mount Central?
Central.
Eastern, Central, Mountain, Western. Is that what it is? Or
Yes.
Pacific? Okay, well I'll put this down.
Oh, we need a new one. You rolled along. I'll roll the rest.
I think you only. No, it's fine.
Okay.
We have enough. I'm just gonna smoke this one, and then
I
we'll
brought some more edibles, the gummies.
edibles are so great.
I'm
I
so
know.
full.
We should have a product review time. I mean, that
We
was part of
should
it.
do a
5,
product-
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy 420. We made it, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. 420, the best time to smoke. Anyways, I'm sorry. What were we saying? We were saying we need to do product reviews.
We should do product reviews where we're totally, well, I was sober today. I usually show up to the first one completely sober and then let the,
I know, me too. That's why it takes us a lot of smoke and get into it.
otherwise I'm just like kind of grumpy.
Well, I usually drink. If I'm tired, I'll usually drink coffee in the morning, and then by, I guess 1:20, I'll switch to weed.
Well, today, so the coffee won't help when it's really cold in the morning and my hands and feet are purple and numb. Oops. Where if I smoke, then it eases that quickly, and then I can start like my morning routine, getting the kids dressed, getting them to school. Now it's like I just get them dressed, but they're like, "Where are we going?"
Yeah.
Nowhere.
There's no. Yeah. There's no.
I
reason-
know. Otherwise, it'll be so hard. I feel like all that time to get them to learn how to
Oh yeah. Even for me, when I have
in
to
their
come
routine.
during the weekends, I won't get dressed up, but during the weekdays when we have to do the show, I'll actually like take a shower,
that's
do my hair, like wear nice clothes.
Oh, maybe I should try. I know, I feel like now I should, like get ready for work and it'll,
Yeah, this is our job. Until quarantine's over, I kind of see this as my job, and it's like it's fun.
yeah, but what sucks is I have to now be the kid, I have to homeschool.
Yeah.
Homeschool and figure out how, I don't know, it's just a big,
Well, yeah, that is tough. And your kids are young. I can't imagine for older kids. Well, I guess older kids can kind of read for themselves.
I'm just glad, I don't know how parents are doing if they've got like middle schoolers or teenagers, 14.
Yeah. They're just playing video games all day. This is the best time of their lives.
No, you'll get tired of that. You can't play video games 24/7 like after 14.
They have the internet. They can learn how to code. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Yeah, it sucks. It's like everyone's at home.
Well, yeah, I know. Everyone has to. I feel like I told Trung this the other day. I'm like, I'm trying to, get my stuff together so I'm more normal. And now everyone's normal is my normal.
Yeah, even the late night talk show hosts, like they have to do their show at home. Like everyone's stuck with their families.
Yeah, stuck with their.
Like with the
We
same
wanted
like.
them, but there were like certain limitations.
It's like everyone had like it's like we all got house arrest all at the same time. The cops are out looking for people.
Have they been in? I've never seen cops like, besides on the internet, breaking up like groups of people.
Oh, don't we have a clip in Los Angeles?
I know.
There was like a
I always
party.
see on the move.
Yeah, but that's because you're not in those groups. You're not out in those groups, so you would never see.
I have no friends.
I mean, it's a benefit during this time.
I have friends that are far away.
You say that like it's a con. Where's that video? I have a video of that.
No,
It's,
my friends just all yelled at me when I said that. When all your friends are in your head.
Wait, oh man, doing that. All right.
All my
Well,
friends are imaginary friends. They speak to me through my mind.
let's go over this one video really quick, the stimulus video, because we went over it last week, but that video ended up not going up. But let's go over it again this week because it's worth going over. So the stimulus bill that got passed last week. I actually talked about this with my finance friend yesterday, and we were talking about how it is just a further consolidation of wealth by, the really rich. And it's...
They're the only ones with the money right now that can, and being given the money to go buy out everything.
Yeah, okay, let's go watch it. Let's watch the video. So this is Dylan Radigan. He's... Let me look him up really quick so I can give him a proper intro. Dylan Radigan... He is an American businessman, author, film producer, former host of MSNBC's The Dylan Radigan Show, and political commentator for The Young Turks. He also has a show about markets, but it's not listed here. But anyways, so he was on the Jimmy Dore Show talking about the most recent stimulus package, and let's hear his thoughts.
This bill is a bunch of money for the richest 1,000 people to consolidate the hammerlock across the totality of the American economy, using taxpayer money to strangle taxpayers.
And so,
while calling it a bailout for taxpayers.
So, as he just so eloquently described the bill as using the wealthiest 1,000 people in America using taxpayer money to strangle taxpayers, and they call it a bailout.
Because in the end, those taxpayers are just ending up paying twice.
Okay, yeah. Let's keep watching because we just barely got into it.
All of it is just an exploitation of the biological event.
and so my cynicisms again can't keep up with reality. And so I shared with people the NBC News coverage of this. They're not going to report it that way, are they?
No.
And so when do you think people will wake up to what has actually happened?
I don't know if they ever will. I mean, it's the underlying hostility of this dynamic that fuels the support for a president like Donald Trump. And it's because Barack Obama supervised the first version of this massive theft and cover-up 10 years ago that even provided a basis for someone like Donald Trump, or to be fair, support for someone like Bernie Sanders, also a great beneficiary of the Obama-led theft and cover-up. Or at least Obama led the cover-up. The theft was really built under George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. But Obama was very, very effective with the cover-up in coordination with Nancy Pelosi. And it worked so well, they just repeated it a second time this week. But they did, a year's worth of drama, and took, from September 2008 until March of 2009, the last time to steal a few $1 trillion in assets. And in this case, because the biological panic is so severe and because they've already done it once before, they're able to facilitate the theft in a matter of days, which is rather impressive.
Yeah. We all went for it the last time.
Yeah, right. So I guess what he's saying is the theft and cover up that Obama did during the he did the covering up part. It led to kind of unrest in like the working class because their economy was shrinking and no one was telling them why. And they were suffering because of it, but the stock market was growing, people were still getting richer, America was breaking all sorts of capitalist records. And that kind of that kind of just uneasiness and the political discourse got so so much more polarized because the economy wasn't working for everyone, and the people that it wasn't working for were looking for someone to blame, but they didn't know how the political apparatus was doing it. They were just like, there's something going on, and that's how we got Trump. And Trump and there's Dylan Radigan was saying that theft and cover up worked so well the first time. This pandemic rolls around, and all of a sudden they have an opportunity to do it a second time, but this time in a matter of days rather than.
Oh yeah, just copy paste.
Yeah, and so it's like, if the original bailout led us to Trump, what do you think the second bailout is going to lead us to? Anyways, I don't know. That's
Trump number 3.
it's hard to imagine. Anyways, let's keep watching.
Will be
And
Nancy
so
Pelosi.
Yeah, because you would never expect it. Anyways, okay, let's keep watching.
people don't realize what the banks did in 2009 was they not only were made whole by the government, but they wanted your house too. So the houses that
Yeah, well, they took.
go ahead.
It'd be like if I took every house in Los Angeles and reduced its price by 90% for 1 week, and then I gave you, Jimmy Dore, all the money in the world and no one else money, and let you go shopping in Los Angeles for a week, and then a week later I reinflated the price of all the houses after you bought all of them.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what they did in 2009, and that's what they're doing now.
And that's what they're going to do now. So now prices are it's a fire sale, right?
Prices are down. Only one person has cash, which is those who are getting it from the government, from the taxpayer. Those who have cash will acquire assets, and then those assets will go back up in value over time.
So
Okay. So it's like we had a $10 trillion bailout package. $4 trillion went to like bailout, like as in like the huge corporations. $4 trillion. Small business got $349 billion. And then the rest of America gets a $1,200 check. And now that employment is at like record-breaking numbers, it's
It's like, is that going to cover
well, it's
even
just
health insurance at this time? Well, look, what was the act that he passed? I was surprised on that one.
yeah. That will have to go over tomorrow. I didn't have
Okay,
enough
I'm
time
like,
to
that's-
prepare the segment today. But that was it's a really good. Anyways, so let's keep
Keep
rolling the clip.
this is going to make income inequality much worse. It'll be harder for people to get their fair share of the profits that they generate in the businesses that they work at. And so our country will drift more and more to be like Brazil or even worse. And what do you see in 5 years? What do you see the end of this?
Gosh, I don't know. I ultimately still I'm a long the world guy, not a short the world guy, and I do have optimism that the integration of distributed resources and distributed activity will ultimately prevail. However, the amount of disruption and political chaos required to get there only goes up when the incumbent political apparatus tries to choke the society to death as they are right now.
So you're saying, unpack what you just said. I couldn't follow it.
I'm just saying I hope that it's going to be fine, but what they're doing right now politically is dangerous and may provoke some social problems.
So
in the
you're
future.
saying that you think the yellow vest scenario is likely after people figure out what is happening?
Maybe Donald Trump can redirect that energy to kill Mexicans, or there's lots of places that you can point hostile energy to other innocent victims to avoid having to deal with it yourself, and they're very manipulative that way.
Right. So they find a whipping boy, a scapegoat, and then all the every problem you have because of this corporate bailout, they can then funnel that energy towards a scapegoat.
Yeah, and that scapegoat can be the Republicans, and that scapegoat can be the Democrats, so you can blame either one of the parties. That's the beautiful thing about the two corrupt parties working together so magically in these situations is there's lots of finger pointing as to whose fault it is. Was it, where's Mitt Romney? Where's Bernie Sanders? Where's the Republicans? Where's Donald Trump? All of that energy is really beneficial to them because it allows them to continue to do whatever they want while everybody's blaming somebody else. So sort of a who's on first of blame.
Oh man. So what he said was, if the current political incumbents, like the people who are currently in politics, if they continue on the course that they're going, which is literally choking society to death economically, it might lead to some social issues.
It might. It already
Yeah, right.
has.
No, exactly. This was a couple weeks ago. So they were calling this right when the stimulus bill happened, and so yeah, he's saying, is it yellow vest time? Is it like time for a revolution? Like, what would a revolution in America even look like? Can you imagine?
The French eventually went all back into their homes.
Well, they were revolting before COVID-19.
They're always revolting. They're the most revolting. I mean, that's on the.
No, I know, but that's
part of their culture. Like, what?
that's not really an American thing. That's why I'm like, can you
government,
imagine
people have
America?
to keep government in. What's it called?
People have to keep government in check.
In check because, and it's like a. It should always be a push and give. Push. And give.
Yeah, but how does it happen?
But I think we lost it here because we just leave it to the experts or leave it to those guys. That's how I was all my life I didn't know anything about politics until I tried to have a weed business. And we had to get into that. We had to learn. I was like, what are council members? How are mayors?
Well, I think anytime.
Who's this district attorney and why is the sheriff
Yeah.
And then knowing about people who get voted in and stuff, and how so many people are so disengaged from our politics and our governance.
Yeah, because
I'm just like, well, yeah, if you're not keeping them in check, who is? And if you don't care where your taxpayer money goes, you just don't, then they'll direct it. They'll say where it goes.
if
and how much you
people,
vote.
I think the tricky part is like caring about what's actually in the bill. Like, if you don't care about legislation, then it's hard to care about politics. I think
That's
the reason
true,
why.
because so I guess I got into it because I was
Cannabis.
and they were about to write up the legislation. Before it was like, it's all illegal, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be from trying to sell a product that was totally illegal, not only in everybody's minds but federally. Like, that's something different than presenting a whole new product to Americans who feel like, this is where I realized, oh my gosh, a lot of us don't see the disconnect, right? We think we're free to buy anything and do whatever, but we're so like, wait, does the government say no? Yes? I don't know if I can buy that weed off of you.
Yeah,
See?
because
I'm like,
we're afraid to like get tickets or like put in jail.
yeah, so isn't
We're
that
afraid to be
such a
punished.
weird paradox.
I mean, but
Like,
other.
why are we afraid of the police? When I was young, it was like, call the police to help you. They're there to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
And it's like, now we're just like, right, this is why I was like, we should have been, guess who we should have been listening to?
It's funny. I was talking to my friend who lives in Hong Kong. So she has to deal with kind of, Hong Kong was a British territory, for people who don't know, for, I think until like 2000. Do you remember the year? Fairly. Right, but then now, the recent protests that we see, and the NBA and the LeBron James comments, they mostly have to do with Second Amendment rights. I mean, they have to do with other things too, but one of the things on the protesters' list of 5 demands is, China was trying to pass, or Hong Kong was trying to pass something where China could extradite journalists or people for talking bad about China or the CCP or the government, and that's really, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back for the protests. And so the protest started. They put 5 things together that they wanted, and they started taking to the streets before COVID-19 hit. But they're still protesting. But the interesting thing about that was she observed, because she lived in America for a while. She was like, Americans have too much freedom.
What do you
Like,
mean?
I think there's just, I should really ask her to elaborate. But I think
It might be the whole thing of not too much. They believe they do, and so they trust. They put so much more like trust in their government than any governed people should. Especially if the people governing you don't look like the people. How do
Yeah.
they properly represent you then?
right. But
And they're like, but we're not. Every time I hear, but we're not like China, or we're not like. I'm like, I don't care about. Obviously, I care, and we can talk crap all we want, but I'm not there. I'm in America, and I'm fully invested in being American as an American citizen, having my kids here and stuff. And so when I cry foul or BS on the stuff and the systems here, it's not that like, well, nowhere else is worse than us. Like, since when is the standard that as long as you're better than, it's like the just don't be the last person, it's bears chasing you, as make sure someone's slower. Like, when did that become like the standard of reaching what,
But also the original question was, what would it take for Americans to actually revolt
That's
or
what I'm saying.
get
So when they
together?
get the freedoms taken away.
But we aren't, like, our freedoms that get taken away aren't so obvious. They're not. They're not. Yeah, they're not coming and claiming your property. They're kicking you out through foreclosure or through evictions.
Legal processes that were
Right.
written up 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
With no say on wait, like.
Yeah, and
you
it
go
doesn't
blank
look.
checks to who?
It doesn't look
And
like
then-
freedom. It looks like a disaster. Like,
Eventually-
they use the cover of a disaster to take away
Well,
people's
if
freedoms.
you hear some of the 1%ers and they're like, this is just, I think they understand that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
It's
have
does that mean it's an objectively
stilts.
twisted system?
No, then I think then we have to fight the inherent and change the stuff in the system that we just like respect for whatever reason, or we feel like, oh, that's the way it's always been done. It's like, well, we're in a new time, so let's change it up. What's
Yeah.
not working for us anymore? And
I agree.
I think that's what you're saying. If we keep going in this direction, it's not where the populace is going. It's not where the people are going. It's not where the world is moving to. So you're going to get a people who's going to go or something like that.
Right. It's because the world's changing and they're picking a side, but the side that they pick might be dangerous.
What do you mean, the side? What
Be-
side?
because I think there are, like, the people who have a lot of influence, they're picking sides that kind of influence the rest of people because of how many, either assets or wealth that they get to kind of move around.
Economics is anytime there's a big shift in like, okay, where resources need to move, someone's gonna lose out.
No, I know, but if enough people lose out and those people decide to revolt, that's what I'm saying. The
That's what
people
I'm
who
saying.
are in charge of those
That might be
assets.
what happens because they refuse. There is no trickle down. Trickle down economics doesn't work. None of that.
Yeah, there's only taking up.
Generations and generations show you have to go fight for it. And if eventually enough people realize that's the only solution, we're gonna get a lot of rooftop Koreans. Here we go again. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What was that?
Don't
Second
say that.
Amendment
I only
rights?
say that because I'm Korean. I'm a
Yeah.
descendant of a rooftop Korean, so.
Okay, so let's keep going with the clip. There's more.
The
So this
Disney
idea
movies are a lie.
that somehow Trump is worse than everybody else. This is revealing that that's bullshit, right?
We've
Yes,
been
for
saying
sure.
that.
I
They're
mean,
all-
Trump is worse than anybody. Trump is a bigger liar. Trump is more self-serving. He's more of a psychopath. He's less empathetic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Or he's
But
worse
when
at
when the
hiding.
rubber meets the road economically, everybody from Bernie Sanders to Rand Paul to Barack Obama to I don't know, pick them. Everybody's on the same page, which is give the money to the large banks and financial institutions and let them consolidate ownership of all the weaker assets so that a smaller and smaller group of people own more and more of all the assets in the country and then call it help.
Oh, you mean? Another problem is the politicians, the senators. How much money did they make shorting this whole?
Oh, and those are the only ones that got caught.
I know.
Senators
but
do this all the time.
There's it's a ladder. It's a rung of ladders, and everybody who's at the second, third, fourth rung, of course, they're like, wait, I'm almost there. Don't break the system.
Yeah, they're protecting all the ones that are on the top ladder. Yeah, that's why the politicians are the cover-up.
Once we let lobbyists in, how many?
Yeah, that's another issue. I mean, there are good lobbyists,
There
but
are, but they have to
it's a
compete with
weird
lot more
system.
money backing
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
You know, everyone was like, "Oh, where's Bernie getting his money and Biden getting his money?" And it's like, how much did Trump spend? You guys think he's not campaigning right now?
Well, even just like,
Even though he's
no,
an
this.
incumbent?
I think you know how we had the separation of church and state, where we had to take religion out of politics because the religious influence on like people's lives was not. Like it began becoming economically straining for them. They're like, we can't follow the religious rules and the legal ones and the state ones.
It was just all
And so I think now, like people are becoming more aware that there's too many
Now we
corporate
put
interests.
business in.
Right. So I think we're gonna need a separation of corporate and state. If we're gonna get, well, no, that's like, how did we separate the church and state? It's gonna
Once
be
we
like a
let them
historical
do,
moment.
Yeah.
Like the people who are working should be the people in office. I think that's what that's what a lot of people are saying.
Government needs to represent the people, so they should
Right.
pretty much look like the people.
And so it's like, how many emergency bailouts do we need, and how much more can the incumbent political apparatus strangle the working class until that happens? It's like the movie A Bug's Life.
I know, you love that movie.
It's a great movie. Okay, so let's continue with the clip.
Yeah.
It's a sick country.
What'd you say?
Sick.
It's a sick country.
Yes. This is a sick country.
But it's also a beautiful country full of beautiful human beings, and it has incredible potential. So the politics in this country are satanic. The human beings in this country are oppressed and abused, and really not any much, like many people in many countries. And unlike those people, there still is a vastly more liberty and freedom to interact and have conversations like the one that we're having and organize and all these things. Now, that may not be that satisfying, and this may be discouraging, but still relative to a lot of places, America's not a bad place to be as a human. It's just you need to adjust to the fact that it's run by the wealthy.
mafia.
The wealthy run the government at the expense of the people, but the wealthy run the government at the expense of the people everywhere. So it's just America is the same.
There you have it. The wealthy run the government at the expense of the people.
We're young enough to take a hold of the American dream. I mean, as a country. That fighting freedom thing is still in
Well,
give you liberty.
America, I think, is still the best place.
Still teaching that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think America worldwide is still the best place to start a business. That's why Elon Musk came here.
I know. Look how many things he broke. Systems that were like stupid and decrepit.
Right, and he's not even American. Good for him.
I know.
You know, so the American
The richest
dream.
African American.
Well, it's like, no, but that's the thing. It's like, is the American dream only for those who are like intelligent and like charismatic, you know, like, and like geniuses? You know, he's
Well, people
an
say he's
outlier.
kind of psychopathic and
Well, no, but that's not the point. It's like, is America only the place for like
Those guys?
the competitors, you know, the highest achievers in
one-
the world? You know, I mean, you know, I know we are a proud country of innovation, and so it's definitely within the company or our country's culture to be innovative and for like bright people to like get to the top and do great things. That's how we got to the moon.
Well, yeah, but there's healthy competition, and then there's
Right, there's like a stranglehold on.
That's how I'm like, I know all governments don't want to completely destroy, like...
No, they want a healthy middle class.
Yes, because that helps the whole country. You can't govern it if there's no people, but at the same time, like, if they're not listening, you know, it's like right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They need to listen, or else
I
their
don't
their
think it has to
government
be-
will crumble.
But I think because America, so what I thought gave us a way to fight it without it being like something so ugly, like a civil war or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Which I'm like, I don't think we ever like defeated that beast.
Well, it's a big country, and I think because we defend, the First Amendment. The First Amendment is the freedom of speech, and like the great thing about America is like we can criticize Trump and we can criticize other politicians and even corporations, and you don't go to law, you don't go to court for that unless it's libel or slander. And so maybe maybe that's what they mean when they say Americans have too much freedom, is that like it's too easy to pull one over on us because it's so easy to have an opinion and like put it out and persuade people that that's the correct opinion.
Well, I think we don't. Yeah, I think that Americans, as Americans, we have to recognize if our economy is failing, how much it has to do then with our corporations. Not.
Yeah.
Like, how do we?
We need
do
to
anything
understand
else
why.
besides-
Yeah. And is that what? Education? Is education the answer?
No, I don't know. Don't you think? I think Americans think they're highly educated. I mean, I guess we are. Are we? I don't know. I meet some very highly educated people that I'm just like, how did you reach that conclusion? And then I'm just like, well, maybe I'm just.
I've met college graduates that don't know how to spell from America.
I don't know how to spell a lot of things,
Oh man, but this one was like,
but I know how to spell check. I'm just kidding. I know how to read a dictionary.
yeah, even with spell check, he's my age, and even with spell check,
Maybe he
it's
doesn't
like,
care.
I guess not. But
Maybe he's like, because there's other types like Miguel. He went all the way up. He would be one of those people. I'm like, how do you misspell when?
Right, yeah, and I don't think.
Spanish is cool. I don't misspell in Spanish. I will misspell in English all the time. Because it's all like Spanish, all the letters are the same.
So you don't blame him when he misspells in English because Spanish is such.
No, but I
easy-
yell at him when he misspells in Spanish. But he just doesn't. He's like, "Did you understand what I said?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Then what's it matter?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is why you didn't care if you were getting a C." Oh, can we just do something? I was gonna ask. What is it? Like a shower thought? But I need to know if something's wrong with it. I mean, if it's wrong, because the other day when Adriana was eating, I realized the difference between Adriana and Gus isn't just in their preference for food.
Your kids,
Yes,
Yeah.
Adriana and Gustin are like
they're like 6 and
fire
7.
and ice. Yeah.
Total opposites.
Like they can share an apple because she only wants to eat the part that's with a peel, and he only wants to eat the non-peel part.
What's the part with the peel?
The outside.
Yeah, so do you just
I
peel
like
it and give her the
I
peels?
peel a
Yeah.
big, yeah, that's what she wants.
The skin?
Yes.
Like the rind?
She'll eat it with a part of the apple, but if there's an apple without the skin, she won't eat it.
That's so
That's why she doesn't like eating apples at other people's houses. Didn't you see? She would take little bites, and the whole apple would be peeled clean, but it's still like you didn't eat it.
Oh, it's in the middle.
She's like, I don't want to eat. I don't like apples. I'm like, maybe. Anyways.
And so Gustin likes the middle part of
Yeah,
that, but it doesn't have the
I
skin.
always, if you know how to
Yeah.
split it up for them, they'll eat it that way. Like she likes her oranges sliced. She likes it peeled, and they for some reason make a big old mess if you try to.
What? I didn't even know there was a difference. I mean, I know there's a difference.
Okay, there should be a segment about the epiphanies I get from my children. Anyways, one of them eats, and it makes him feel better. So if he feels bad, he's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, but he's not. I'm like, you just
you're
eat
just
something
sad.
that'll, you're upset or something. You're tired.
I get that in a spiritual way. Yeah, I understand.
Adriana is one of those, her mood will affect her taste. Not,
And so she's like, so if she's sad, she's like, I want ice cream.
no, her mood will affect her taste, meaning everything will taste like crap if she's just in a bad mood.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't matter what it
It's
is.
best to eat if she's really happy because everything tastes good, and you can give her anything. If she's
Okay, so
Sleepy,
Gustin wants to.
whatever.
So Gustin wants to eat when he's like in a bad mood, and
Yeah, no, so-
Adriana
so-
doesn't want to eat.
so Gustin, the food affects his mood, right? The eating,
yeah, right.
And then
Oh, I see. And Adriana's mood affects her
the
food.
mood affects how what she can eat.
Yeah.
Is that two types of people? Is everybody like that? One or the other?
I mean, I feel like I've experienced both.
Because I'm like, there's lots of people who can't get fat if they're really skinny, and they're like, I don't know how to do it. And there's a lot of people who are big who can't seem to. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're two types of eaters.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've experienced both where I'm like, because I know I've had situations where like I'm about to eat and then something happens and like I just can't eat.
Oh,
because,
but
like,
that's a different kind of response.
I think people have
Spiking
maybe.
cortisol, or if you're stressed, that's a natural biological response where like
Right.
shut down, you're gonna have to run or something.
But it's like I think like people have the default, but
raining.
is it? Yeah, it's raining hard. Yeah, that's interesting. Different types of eaters. I wonder if Gustin will be fat when he grows up.
So he was always on the verge of being overweight. She was always, because when they're babies, they weigh them, they measure them like every week, every month, and then every whatever. And so she was always on the lower end, he was always on the higher end. And Charles was like, don't give him too much, whatever. He's not a picky eater. She's totally, but when she eats, she'll eat.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, oh, she's in a good mood. And like, just give her everything. Here's your carrots, your meat, and luckily she just takes it all. Like,
Oh, so anything tastes good when she's in a good mood. Oh, yeah, that's good. It's a good way to eat.
so then she's, I guess. We're gonna have to teach Gus and other coping mechanisms for his, like when he's angry or like fidgety. Do martial arts. We're gonna teach him taekwondo,
Oh, yeah.
Or go for a swim, or do other things to raise your endorphin levels or your natural dopamine, serotonin, rather than eating.
Oh man.
It's-
All right.
Oh, okay.
So no, we still have time. What were you gonna say?
Oh, that was just my.
So we went over this. We went over that. We went over this. Oh, I guess we'll go over this in the last hour. We already went over memes.
Tony, Eric Garcetti.
Is it Eric Garcetti? Is that his name?
Isn't it?
Mayor Garcetti? You might be right.
LA?
Oh, what is up with everyone afraid of 5G? Oh, I should do that story tomorrow too.
I don't understand how they think 5G started Corona. I don't understand that conspiracy.
Yeah, let's just look it up really quick. Maybe we can just do it right now.
If it pops up a couple times, I'm like, really? That means that's
And I've heard it in person. Let's put this here. Okay.
You know why they're going to stop 5G?
Why?
It's not regulated as, and it's just going to outcompete. It's the next best, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it hasn't been like fully taken over by all the big,
Well, I think it's just it's like a spectrum. So
I know, but the people who provide that spectrum, it's not limited by 4G and stuff.
all right. Anyways, so possible arson attacks hit home phone towers, even though 5G has no link to COVID-19. Influencers and Russia are pushing conspiracy theories that link the coronavirus to the new super fast wireless technology. They're absolutely wrong. Let's see.
This is on CNET.
Yeah, as the coronavirus sweeps the globe, so do rumors about what caused it and how it spreads. One that's gained steam online is the new 5G networks is the new 5G networks cause the disease. That's completely wrong. Radio waves can't create a virus, which is what caused COVID-19. And so, but that hasn't stopped the threats against broadband engineers and possible arson attacks against UK phone towers, prompting UK carriers to ask people to stop burning the towers, and the UK's national medical director to call out the 5G conspiracy theory as complete and utter rubbish. Communication networks are crucial in the fight against the pandemic. And so I guess, I don't know.
Weird. Somebody they just want something to. It's like what he said. They're just gonna. People just want to throw blame at something, and then you distract enough people, and they don't.
Well, that was in the UK, so it's not even our government. So
Yeah,
that,
but
like,
UK, come on, Bojo's in the
I know,
hospital right now. But they
hospital.
said it wasn't because he needs to be on ventilators because the fever wouldn't go down. His wife, 32-year-old and pregnant. Oh, fiance got it too, but it went away after 7 days.
I wonder who were the trolls?
Who started this
Yeah.
conspiracy theory?
There's a comment on Reddit that says there's also people that think Huawei, a Chinese company that is manufacturing 5G modems, is going to steal our data and send it to Chinese government, the U.S. and other countries. So I think that plus the other
With the
yeah
Why
the
are
other
engineers so like? Sorry.
well there are other there were other conspiracy theories that like 5G causes cancer. So it's probably like
They said that about all cellular.
yeah, it's probably like a combination of those. But no, 5G does not cause coronavirus. Corona beer
Introducing
causes
5G
coronavirus.
makes it so that the prices go down.
Damn. Shoot them dead. This is the president of the Philippines, what he says. This is his
Well, he always that's his go-to.
Sa pulis pati military.
yeah, this is his go-to. It's just crazy.
Well, no, before he would just like canings and jail.
Shoot them dead. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte orders police and military to kill citizens who defy coronavirus lockdown. In the Philippines, the 57 million residents of the country's main island, Luzon, are under strict lockdown orders to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Despite that, many in Manila slum took to the streets Wednesday to protest a lack of supplies, arguing they had not received any food packs since the lockdown started 2 weeks ago. The local government refutes those claims and clashed with protesters, ultimately arresting 20 people who refused to return home. Later that night, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte took to the airwaves with a chilling warning for his citizens. Defy the lockdown orders again, and the police will shoot you dead. I will not...
They're okay with that?
Yeah, he says, I will not hesitate. My orders are to the police and military as well as village officials. If there is trouble or occasions where there is violence and your lives are in danger, shoot them dead. He said in a mix of Filipino and English in a televised address, do not intimidate the government. Do not challenge the government. You will lose. Wow. You know, I wonder how long until the U.S. says this kind of message.
Go to war with your own people. Well, I mean, it's happened. Never mind.
Wow.
Maybe that's why I never liked history.
You think, yeah, you think if
So
the
I was
U.S.
like, I don't understand why we're all so stupid. Just kidding. I think it takes us time to recognize. And it's so funny in medical school you learn like if you don't know if a person's like conscious of where you ask them their name, their date, and if they know where they are. I don't know. It might be different in the U.S., but I'm pretty sure it's the same. And I find it hilarious that a lot of people could repeat it, but I don't think we really understand.
Understand what?
where we are and who we are and what's going on. Did you read this?
No.
Oh, let me see.
I was trying to find I wonder if they'll just put it on the top.
41 pages? You can read that right away.
I mean, we have videos on these. I wanted to get the overall number. I think it's like 13 million unemployed. How many
I know, it keeps going up.
are unemployed in U.S. now?
So if you lose 3 jobs, can you file 3 times?
If you were on the, yeah, I think if you were, if they were paying you on a payroll, like through payroll, yeah.
Because remember I told you, I was like, they're like, oh, lowest unemployment. I'm like, that's just because everyone ran out of employment insurance, so they're not.
I know.
Like the number, I'm like, where are those stats?
We're gonna have more now. If they count it by the same stats, we're gonna have more
Which I
unemployed.
think they are. And I'm like,
then
good.
we have
then
people.
this will correct for the, yeah. I'm like, well, then you'll know the true picture.
How do we have 400 million unemployed when we only have 350 million
It's like,
people?
because the corporations were screwing people over. Like, I work part-time. I don't need to give you health insurance. And then it's like, how much is health insurance? Oh, I need to get another damn job. And then how much is it to...
That's a good one.
How much is it to, yeah, living expenses now? What is it? Does it still keep going up? I can fix my socks. I realize it's so wet out there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's because I was wearing slippers.
305.
Department of Numbers? Is that a real department?
Maybe. Why? I can't find.
Bureau
like,
of Labor Statistics.
that's what these guys are.
Oh, I'm like,
Or-
if you want something straight from the government, .gov usually. Well, I mean, their tally. May 8th.
Maybe can I search the doc?
What are you looking for?
I want 4.4%. Is that what is the total? I just wanted to know the total number of unemployed. And to be able to show it.
Yeah, where are they getting
From people who file for unemployment.
the percent?
Yeah, I think it's the percent of eligible employed adults in the U.S. So it's not
From their
accounting.
census.
I guess, yeah. It must be.
.9.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Wait, so 1.4 million to 7.1 million.
In March.
But that's so different from what the numbers we've seen in the news that say something like 13 million filed. Is it not?
Maybe. Is that what it says? Yeah. No. Maybe. It was. In March we had in the beginning 1.4 added to however there were already unemployed, and now there are 7.1 in addition to what was already what was January's unemployment rate? 0.9. So they added 1.4 million, and now it's at 7.1 million added to
the week of 8th through the 14th.
I think so.
But that's from the household survey? What's the household survey?
Let's measure it. No. Wow.
I think some of them that are done also online and stuff, their systems are failing under the amount
Oh, yeah.
of people trying to file and stuff, so it's hard to get an exact.
One lady had to do it 800 times.
I called and then I went online and they're like, just keep trying. We're trying to get our,
Wow.
systems back.
Uh-huh. This is
But
the
you
new normal.
mail-in one.
Yeah,
Mine's
but I
just
can do
for
mine
coronavirus.
I can do mine online now.
Oh, did you try it? Did it say how long it'll take?
It should be, I don't know. I did it yesterday, so I should check today. 309. Well, might as well watch a cat video.
Yeah, what happened to our cat videos? Was that too long of cat videos?
No, I mean, we just had a lot more to cover today.
Oh, yeah, it's Monday, not Friday.
Cat videos. Okay.
Maybe we should put a baby monitor where Clowny is. So, in the meantime, we're gonna cut to our furry friends. What do they have to say? We should put the kids in there with them.
Oh, that's true. We could have Clown could have her own live stream.
And then randomly we'll bring kids
Cats are so
to touch them. See, that one looks so small. These cats look like they're like. Are Japanese cats smaller?
Maybe. Japanese is not a big place. I mean, Japan's
Oh,
not a big
Molly
place.
was small. I guess I was used to OG. But he wasn't fat. He was just big. Like, look at her little paws. Oh my god, he looks. I think I saw this one, these cats, but in a different video. Do you know the cats?
Oh, these are, it's just the same videos from the other day.
Oh, okay. No, but is there another video where he's with these same cats?
I think he walks around his neighborhood, so you probably see the same cats if you watch
This
enough
one's a big
videos.
one. Oh. I wonder if they fight. Look, those two are gonna fight. I think they're both Toms. Well, one of them has a thing in his ear. They're probably neutered. Look, he's gonna kick him off. Yeah, they both have ticks in their ears. I mean,
So
like
they're
little. I
boys?
think they neuter the stray boys. The orange one's like, I still don't have enough space. Get off! I have the higher ground.
What would win in a fight, a cat or a raccoon?
Depends on the cat.
That
depends
cat
on the
just put his
raccoon.
paw on his head. Depends on the fight and depends on the raccoon.
The cat and the raccoon. Like some cats get beat up. That's where the other cat was sitting, but it's like right in his crotch. I don't know if you're paying attention.
Where did the orange one go? Did he kick him off?
Yeah, the other one held his ground so that it left. I don't think they want to fight on his lap.
Well, the other one was there first.
Do you think they respect who was there first? Maybe. I don't know.
Huh?
Animals. Do you think they like respect those kinds of rules? Or do you think the bigger one will always just go, get out of the way?
I think
this
if they
is
don't want
pushy.
to, if they don't want to get the person that they're sitting on angry. They might.
Yeah. He's probably thought that if you fight around me, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I would.
That's why he was just like,
I'd be like,
I would scratch you right here. But I'm just kidding.
I would go. There's probably so many cats on the island.
Is he on an island?
I mean, Japan's an island.
There's a bunch of little islands. You know, like the Caribbean where there's.
Yeah.
little-
Yeah, so he might be on another
Walk
island
from shore
that's
to
part of
shore.
Japan. I know.
That's
I
what
want
I
to go
was
to the
asking.
Philippines where you can take a boat to like island to island.
The Florida Keys. Some of them have like bridges crossing them.
Oh yeah, you know I don't think I've ever been to Florida.
I would love to do that, and then if I just get motion sick, all I have to do is like, I don't really scuba diving in the ocean makes you motion sick too. Oh my gosh, we have to get ready for
Yep, we're almost there.
Mount. Oh, that's gonna be Cali 420.
No, we're still getting ready for
No, just
mountain?
kidding.
Utah
Mountain,
420.
Don't forget the mountain folks.
Yeah, Colorado, Utah.
The West Coast mountains, right? There's
Yeah.
two mountains.
There's like the Appalachian
Appalachian
and the Rockies. We also have Sierras in California, but those are only in California.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Nevada. In between California and Nevada.
There's two ranges. But sorry, what was I looking up? I know. I need to learn all that now again.
I know. You know, now that being poor is in, we should all get vans and just travel the United States.
I meant to teach my kids.
How to what?
Not geology. No, not geology.
Yeah, how
What's
much?
it called?
We should call up Gina and tell her to teach us how she did it. She did it like worldwide. We can, and she probably had to teach her kids while she was out too, right? They were gone for like a year.
Yes, she had a whole curriculum, but I think her kids were already ahead of the curve. So,
Oh, she's like, you guys can afford to be a year behind. You guys are too
well,
smart.
no, so she had the opportunity to teach them other things that she probably felt school wasn't teaching them because I think the kids were getting restless. Like, this is already material we've mastered, so
School is.
when they get bored, as you know, kids do, they don't mean to be disruptive or, have but their curiosity with boredom, I think, will cause them to be disruptive in regular classrooms.
Yeah.
I think they were great. That's why I was like, yeah, that's a good thing. Instead of having kids go abroad and learn after high school, for them to do it when they're younger is like, I feel like it would have so much more of an impact and
they're
such
already
a greater learning experience.
Yeah, and they're going to be much better prepared for when they do travel again. Like,
yes,
how much more?
because they saw it and they did it in such a safe way with their parents and their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really
I
no
would love to do that.
age limit. I guess whenever you start forming memories, that's a decent time to like start like maybe traveling domestically and then going abroad.
I know. I'm like, oh, my kids are learning the states, and I would like them to visit different states, or even to go. We can drive up to Canada,
Or Mexico.
if our president doesn't like lock us all in, saying we're just locking them out. I think they were trying to imprison us, guys.
Well, yeah.
Run!
That's why they gave you $1,500 to stay.
I know. I'm like
$1,500 is a water fountain.
straight
In the
off
prison that they just built. That's what Jimmy Dore said.
water fountain.
Yeah, and the prison that they just built for the working class.
More prisons. I know.
The economic prison.
Now they're gonna probably have a lot more space. Just kidding. They just won't be. As
No, they're gonna fill them
overcrowded.
twice as fast.
I know.
They're like, you know what's illegal
Is
again?
there-
Weed. Oh shit. Bad time to make this show.
I'm gonna have to move.
To where?
I'm picking Mexico.
Yeah. What's
know,
worse, the
people
cartel
are so surprisingly nice to us,
or the
even though they know we're Americans. I feel like they now feel sad for us. Y'all been hoodwinked. Oh, shit. They're like, We'll give you refuge, guys. We'll give you refuge.
Not yet.
Oh,
We still got like a minute and a half till 4:20, and then we will go over our
I
last
should reboot
segment.
that. Unemployment stuff.
This is the. I think they release it every.
The next one
Every
coming out in
week.
May. Oh,
Doesn't this come out every Friday? I think the jobs report comes out every Friday.
oh.
Is this not the jobs report?
No,
Unemployment rates.
this is the.
Duration of unemployment. I just wish they just gave me a number.
Right there.
Total unemployment. Jeez. Well, there's so much cool data in here. I know why the people at the indicator look at this now. Okay.
Yeah, but it just makes me wonder how. Why are there so many? I need to read through it.
10 more seconds.
A lot of those finance. people come
5,
from New York.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy 420! Everyone in Salt Lake and
Who else is on that
the
time zone?
Rockies.
Is there
I just
some
know.
Arizona? Part of Texas?
Arizona doesn't do
New Mexico?
Arizona, I think, is a state that doesn't do daylight savings time. So I think their time zone switches whenever daylight savings time happens.
What? You know, I was there when Cuba did that. I didn't know there were states that did that. But the whole country did it. They got rid of daylight savings times, and then I think the next year they put it back because everyone's like, no, we all changed our clocks.
Really?
They're all still on analog. At the time.
I mean, it would. Yeah, if it happened here, it's baked into our software now. So the clocks change for us.
Yeah. They just did it though, and then I think there were certain things that like continued, and I think they were so like used to doing the math for American hours and theirs that they weren't converting correctly, and
We just need one time. One time that
like
everyone,
in Japan. I mean, China. Is
Yeah,
China
but-
still on that?
Yeah, they don't have time zones.
Yeah.
That's the smartest way to do it. We should
I
just
was
all be
like-
on one time.
Yeah, but they get used to just 4:30 being
It's like, what time are you
4:30 a.m.
open?
being when the sun.
Yeah, it's like, what time are you open? Oh, okay, I don't have to do the math. That's just, I'm up the 2 hours that you're before you
Yeah,
close.
you just.
But
I'm surprised if the sun doesn't go up.
the entire world is on one time. I think it's Greenwich Mean Time, GMT.
The one that's
we're
in,
plus
like, England.
Yeah,
and
we're
London.
plus 8 GMT or whatever. So we're already doing the math, but then everyone is kind of already on one time zone. We just all
Well,
imagine
that's
if we
what I
were-
was like.
imagine
When
if it
I
was
said
like
it's all because we're on the same Earth. No matter what we're like, we split it up because we wanted to make increments shorter than just one night and day. Like everyone's gonna see the night and day,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we decided how we're gonna increment it, then I think the time zone changed because people were like farming and stuff. No.
that's why they say we have daylight savings time, but now we have that still. So who knows?
That's what I'm saying. I think they're. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's get to our last segment before we run out of time.
Yeah, it had to be split between the hours. They split it up because it's a different part we're occupying as the Earth spins in front of the sun.
All right. So yeah, let's look at
I feel like we're on slow roast. I just slowly roasting this.
unemployment skyrockets.
See, that is sad. Oh. Did you ever figure out what that noise was?
I just closed everything. I was like, I just hope it doesn't happen again.
I feel like that's how you should start the whole thing, right?
Yeah, my mistake is I work until we start.
Right
I
when
need
we start,
to
yeah.
kind of get a better workflow going. Here we go. Oh, this is from Sagar Enjeti. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's from The Rising, and he had a segment on unemployment, which I thought was really good. And this is kind of following.
What's The Rising?
They're like kind of a left-leaning political news show. They cover politics and like what's going on.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the things I'm watching on C-SPAN,
Like online?
they're also covering. Yeah, they're a YouTube show.
Oh, YouTube. Oh, okay.
They do great work. They do really good work. Sagar and his co-host Crystal Ball, who's also I think we'll see her in some of these clips. They wrote a book about populism, which got me on the term, which was about public servants working for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah, let's see. They covered unemployment, and this is when the numbers came out. That's why I was kind of trying to look for numbers to put up, but they actually go over all the numbers in the segment.
The New York Times recently stopped by a food bank in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. 70% of the people in line had never been there before. David Greenfield, he was the head of a nonprofit that focuses on housing and food assistance in New York City. He told the Times at first, quote, "We saw retail workers, chefs, waiters, and restaurant owners, but that as the week went on, he began to see people who worked at law firms and those who had been employed their entire lives." You've heard a lot about the beefed up unemployment program that's been passed by Congress, but you know what you have to do before you can get it? You literally have to be able to file for unemployment. The number that we just learned of may actually be too low because the systems right now are so inundated with requests and calls that websites are crashing. One woman told Politico she had to call the office 800, yes, 800 times before she was able to file her unemployment claim.
So that was a kind of anecdotal, but the Times reported that there was a food bank in Dallas, so pretty suburban area. 70% of people have never been to a food bank before, and so
Have you ever been? Besides volunteering.
No.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I've only given to food banks.
and they
I'm
had
like,
said that it's
it's good we have them in that program. But
they said at first they saw like retail workers, and then they began seeing like lawyers and people who had jobs like their entire lives. And it's like,
Wondering
what
what
happens when the
costs.
food banks run out? You know, it's
That's
like
why we're growing our own.
no, but that's the thing. It's like, are we really prepared for like the economic impact that we're about to go through? You know, because
Poor people are. How far low can you go?
we'll see. Let's hope we don't run out of supplies. Okay, let's keep watching this clip on
Sprite?
unemployment. Let's keep what? I'm sorry.
You said let's not run out of Sprite.
Supplies.
Oh, supplies. Like Sprite? I didn't even know you drank.
Yeah, and the unemployment numbers might even be lower because people like can't apply right away. That one woman had to call 800 times. It's like state by state, you know, and so every state has their
That's
own.
what I was saying. The whole lots of systems. One nerdy guy was like, "Oh, now programmers and coders can rise to the occasion and build things that we."
No, but they can't.
And then
they can't change these systems and deploy them in a meaningful way. You know, it's
the servers aren't there. That like
the bureaucracy is like it's not willing to spend money to change it. It's just trying. It's already trying.
It's just too slow. This is emergency kind of measures, and
right,
when
but they're
is it
still
gonna have such numbers again.
They're still going through only their current distribution methods. You know, they're still only going through like the unemployment.
Yeah, because that's all there is right now.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
What are
Okay.
you gonna do? Make up a whole new system or update the old one?
Yeah. Let's see how bad it's gonna get.
But second of all, I'm frankly stunned that there is no debt forbearance whatsoever. There's no rent freeze. There's no mortgage freeze.
From HUD there is, but not nationally.
Right.
And again, I mean, how do you even institute that? I don't even know. Somebody has to pick up the tab.
And it's insane to think that they would think that a $1,200 payment, which won't even come for weeks, if not months, is going to be sufficient to deal with this. And meanwhile, 10 million people in 2 weeks. And as you rightly point out, that's probably undercounting.
It is.
Because how many people weren't able to get through because the systems are crashing because we've never seen anything like this before.
Just saw it.
So that was 10 million in 2 weeks. So that's 10 million added to whatever the unemployment was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And oh God. And so so we already passed April, and there's this thing going around LA Twitter And this kind of really opened my eyes to see how bad it's getting already, because April has passed, but people are having to choose now between between literally buying food or making rent. And the tragic thing about this is like no one's on the people's side. There is no, like Crystal Ball rightly said, there is no debt forbearance. There is a mortgage freeze, which is great if you own a house.
Yeah.
But if you rent and you don't have a nice landlord, you're fucked. And there's no, Congress is out, and it's I guess what? It's up to the sheriff? Are they putting this on? You know what I mean? It's we're
lucky we're in California because of the laws that protect tenants from that.
But still, this is LA. Look, LA, Bay Area, it doesn't matter where you are. It's they are all having to.
Cool, because they better. Yeah.
They're trying to mobilize.
They're trying to make something so that California passes the legislation so that it does. Because if they can't do it on a federal level, the states need to do something to help, mitigate that.
So food, not rent. That's what the Los Angeles Tenants Union are they're fighting for. Launch of a rent strike. Because the legislators aren't doing anything. It's the craziest time of unemployment, and you have to rely on the charity of your landlord to get through this hard time.
Or you just stay there. Where else are they going to go?
No, I know, right.
It's not like the landlord has been living there.
I know. Okay.
But the landlord's going to go there by themselves? Get out. It's good luck finding somebody else at this time.
I know, but if well, yeah, okay. Let's keep watching this clip.
Interesting article from The Economist, which studied that the only way that business came back after the Spanish flu is after infections went down. Regardless of whether people had quarantining or whatever, business activity only picked up after the flu was gone. So there you go. There's only one goal we have in this country: destroy the virus as soon as humanly possible. That's what all of our energy needs to be focused on, so we can get these people back to work.
So I think what Sagar was responding to there was that, a lot of people are just saying we just need to get back to work and get the economy up. And
after we kill the virus.
No, but that's
Don't
the thing.
just
You can't
get back up.
You can't. That's his point. You can't get people back to work any sooner than that.
Yeah.
And so these people who are stuck at home, who are
goal,
out of a job, whose rents are building up, he's saying they have to stay in there for the duration of the virus being in the United States. Mm-hmm. And there is no legislation protecting them in their homes.
Who's okay, they're not going to shut off electricity or whatever, but then they're still billing.
Yeah, you don't think
they're still billing? They're just we want to shut it off, but by the end of this, you're going to owe us $4,000, and then we're going to cut off your electricity.
Yeah, you don't think they're going to kick them out of their homes? They did it in 2008. The banks took it back, and
the banks have the share. They have the law, and they have legal people, and they can evict really quick, which sucks. It's that. How come? I don't know, but
well, yeah. I mean, this is against a different class of people.
Yes, because there's less.
Before it was banks against homeowners. Now it's homeowners against tenants. So let's see. So there was also another clip about what's Congress doing?
Congress?
Yeah, because they're out right now. They don't resume until April 20th. Well, maybe.
Oh, why? Oh, because of
they have a break. They get a winter break.
Oh, winter?
Is it winter? Spring? They get I guess they're on break.
And pretty much nobody is doing the job that they were sent to Washington to do, which is to help American workers and small businesses. Instead, they passed a multi-trillion-dollar giveaway to the richest corporations in America and skipped town for 3.5 weeks. And they both seem to agree they may not even come to work. Now, of course, you're thinking, well, they might just be smart and institute smart remote voting for the House and the Senate. No. Both Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have ruled that out. And for the time being, meaning that if the disease outbreak is at its height, the very people tasked with passing laws to deal with this fallout may not be able to even show up for work. The political conditions are not there. These multimillionaires in Congress don't feel any of what some of the stories that we are hearing.
So yeah, let's unpack the first part. So they're not in. They passed like $1 trillion bailout packages for the biggest corporations, and then $1,200 for everyone else, $349 billion for small businesses, and then took a break until April 4/20. That's when they're supposed to resume. And like, how bad do you think things are gonna be by then? like
how many people are dead?
Yeah, I mean that too. But how many people do you think are going to be unemployed? Even if it doubles, like 25 million, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But let's finish that clip because I think what Sagar is kind of getting ramped up about is how disengaged Congress is, and maybe how lack of their lack of awareness is, how big it is.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
People who are losing their jobs.
They're quarantining on their yachts.
They're unemployed.
Literally.
People are quarantining on yachts. People are quarantining on vineyards. Some people are having the time of their lives. I saw a New York Times article yesterday of a culture writer saying, hey guys, just take the self-care time that you need. This is the vapidity. This is the vapidity of the existence that these people live in. While 70% of people at a food bank had never been there before in their entire life.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Ratigan, Jimmy Dore, they all said it. Sagar's seeing it now. I mean, Sagar's been saying it for a while, but he's saying like it's like Dylan Ratigan, I feel like he said it in such a concise way where he said, if the current political incumbent keep going in the direction they're going, it could be dangerous for them, like socially. And now, like their disattachment to the situation is further exasperating, I feel like, the gap between people who are really suffering and people who are just kind of quarantining at home, waiting it out.
It's just, I think that's what they're talking about, that the difference between the haves and the have-nots is that there's such a difference in reality during this time.
So
it's like, I don't know how it's gonna play out. But
you think landlords might use this opportunity to kick tenants out?
I don't know. I don't think so. If there's a mortgage freeze and there's not something that they're having to pay.
Well, Ground Game LA said, if your tenant tries to make you sign anything, you have no obligation to sign. Doubly so if it's got Dennis Block's name on it. Talk to LA Tenants Union and know your rights. And so you might ask, who's Dennis Block? Dennis Block, evil eviction lawyer. Dennis Block is giving landlords a letter template asking tenants to sign an agreement that they will pay back the rent owed. Do not sign this agreement. Tenants are under no legal obligation to sign this agreement. Do not sign anything from your landlord without first consulting your local tenants union representative. And so there are evictions.
Know your rights as a tenant in California. You have a lot of rights.
Well, I mean, I think the most surprising part, and I guess people have to realize.
Don't sign that thing. Don't ever sign it.
Well, yeah, there are just different types of lawyers, and there are such things as eviction lawyers, and there are eviction lawyers that would.
Some of them are needed.
No, absolutely, but some of them are also trying to take advantage of the current situation we're in. Yeah. And it's
it's. Charge for that.
I don't think he charges.
For every rent you get back, I'll only take 30%.
Right, and so in LA they're doing a car strike against Mayor Garcetti over the weekend.
Why? What did he do? What did he pass?
Well, it's more like what is he not doing?
Oh, well.
Mayor Garcetti in
so they
LA.
want him to do something.
Well, yeah, they're not. They haven't seen $1,200 yet. April 1st has already passed.
And how much does $1,200 cover what kind of rent in LA can you get for $1,200?
Yeah, so let's see. LA. Oh yeah, right. You have to buy food. You don't all of a sudden.
It's not going to cover the rent.
It's not supposed to cover rent. Yeah. It's like, anyways. Okay, let's watch this.
Oh, it's supposed to just cover food and stuff.
I don't. No. I'm saying I don't know what it's supposed to cover. It's not enough, obviously.
A
Like,
Band-Aid on a fracture.
yeah. Okay. So let's see what the LA car strike was over the weekend in LA.
A lot of people are saying we have an eviction. So
Yeah, a bunch of people are driving by Mayor Garcetti's house. Yeah, so they're yelling at him to do his job.
Tell him that he has a responsibility to the citizens of LA, and we need him to have no evictions, no rent, and no vacancies. Keep everyone at home now.
Yep. So,
Oh, so sad.
do you want to see what Mayor
So
Garcetti
now the
says?
homeless people are gonna have better homes. We're gonna have a swap. He's gonna put the homeless people in places, and then
Do you want to see what Mayor Garcetti says? So on the Los Angeles subreddit, Mayor Garcetti did a AMA today.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I.
He did respond from his little mansion.
Well, let's see. Let's see how he.
Because other people have huge mansions up. Oh.
Let's see how he responded. Get some water first. Ugh. Well, actually, let's talk about first. What did you think about the car strike?
God, that was funny.
So that lady was saying, we're not safer at home if we don't have homes.
Yeah, where are they gonna go?
Exactly.
It's like the boxes painted in in Las Vegas for their homeless to stay. So keep the social distance, but they're still outside, like in the streets while they're.
Look, okay, so here's actually, I forgot to save this, so let me.
Yeah,
Let me
why
go
are there
rename this.
empty spaces that are enclosed that could keep these people like from spreading it?
Well, look
We
at
are
this.
the
So,
hosts.
I guess the question is, who is supposed to protect people from being evicted, I guess, in this point? You know, is it, because obviously if people can't make rent, is it up to the tenants to be charitable? Is it up to your local legislations to put a rent freeze? Is it up to the sheriffs? You know, is it up to Congress? Is it up to the president? You know, where does it start? Where does it stop?
Well, did they start a mortgage freeze?
They did. In California, they did.
Who own those places where those mortgage, they need to do a freeze.
Yeah.
If the banks are willing to finally say, okay, we won't take it away, and we'll freeze it so it doesn't happen like last time, then they have to do the same thing.
But do you think in a time of emergency, because California had to work with the banks, you know?
You can't evict in 30 days.
Right. So the point is, it's like, is it even possible to execute such a decentralized tactic during an emergency where it's like, yes, we'll put a mortgage freeze, but it's up to the tenants to tell their it's up to the landlords to tell the tenants to not pay rent. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't an order have to come so it's communicated to all landlords?
We would hope that they would just understand that. But
Okay, well, anyways, let me share this.
maybe not.
Where did I put
Who
it?
knows? Let's see what the landlords do.
Yeah, so this is a tweet. Well, David Serrata first said, I wonder if we will see any sheriffs muster the courage to refuse to evict people during the coronavirus crisis. And so Jimmy Dore says, I wonder if Bernie Sanders or his campaign will have the courage to organize a rent/mortgage/student loan strike, or use their email list to help organize a general strike, or even really have any idea on what to do right now except make impotent requests online. And so it's like, I guess people are getting upset because it's like, are we supposed to rely on the sheriffs? Are we supposed to rely on Congress? Like, you know what I mean?
Everyone out for themselves.
Right. Is it like, that's the insane part, is that everyone, it seems like that's the course they're going. You know, it's like, yay, mortgage freeze, and then everyone, you figure it out.
Maybe. We don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's getting...
May will tell.
Let's see what's going on now. Mayor Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, one of the hardest hit places of coronavirus. He had to send a Navy ship here, right?
Well, the Navy ship was to, just like the one they sent to New York, was to be able to make beds and spaces, because they're not an intensive care unit. It was just to take on the people who, like, fractures or whatever.
Still, they didn't send one to Seattle. You know what I mean? They still...
Seattle didn't have enough. There was enough rich people where they just stayed at home.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's
There's
like, that's how
homeless people in
many
there too, I think.
coronavirus has hit LA County pretty hard, where there's only 2 places where they had to send ships. I mean, granted, you know, there's only a few places where they can...
the population was so
exactly
big. And it's
so
like if
that's why they're going to see an even faster economic turn because the population is so dense, because more people are out of work. And so there's a question that a guy said in an AMA today. God, let me put it up. An AMA, if you don't know, it stands for Ask Me Anything. This was on the Los Angeles subreddit.
What was the question, though?
Yeah, this is the question. Let me make it bigger. So, Caitlin Rose asks, what are the chances that a moratorium on rent and mortgages will be considered? The money from the federal government won't even fully cover my rent for 1 month, and my hours have been slashed at all 3 of my jobs. A moratorium on rent and mortgages seems like the most logical solution from a citizen standpoint. So it's exactly what you said. It's like they're working 3 jobs. She works in Los Angeles. And
I don't know where she's getting $1,200 rent.
No, she says it won't even fully cover my rent for 1 month.
Yeah,
right.
We've searched it. I'm like, if she was single and in like, but she's probably crammed in with a bunch of people.
Yeah, and so 277 upvotes. So 277 people agreed with her. And this is what the mayor, how he responded. Mayor Eric Garcetti. I'm just gonna put this up so people can see it. Mayor Garcetti responds, "You are correct. I have said since the beginning of this that the best policy would be in exchange for federal support of banks and lenders. There should be mortgage forgiveness and then the same for rent. Without all 3 levels working together, it is a mess. Local government has no power to mandate this, though we have asked the state to do so. Parenthesis, also some deep legal questions, end parenthesis. And I support the federal government doing this, parenthesis, after all, our tax dollars, we should have some say about how they are spent, end parenthesis. If the city were to, we would be liable for all of the rents, and according to the back of napkin calculations, we wouldn't have the cash flow to pay for even 2 weeks of everyone's rent, and in about 3 months, the city government would have no money and would be bankrupt. No fire department, no 911, no power, no water, no etc. The package from Washington is woefully inadequate, so I have joined with a group of mayors across the country to advocate for another round and a true economic stimulus package. I have already asked a number of senators and members of Congress to give assistance to renters and landlords now. For those who say forget the landlords, if they cannot pay their mortgages and lose their properties, they will be snapped up by Wall Street, as we have seen with many single-family homes after the 2008 recession. In the meantime, we are raising money for more cash assistance, parentheses, especially for families and workers who not included in the federal legislation, end parentheses, and ensuring that there are no evictions allowed during the crisis. and the most generous paycheck order in the country so far, parentheses, 12 months to pay rent for residential tenants. So
Yeah, if the mortgages don't give the landlords a break, then obviously I can see why they would be panicking. I still don't know that a lot of them, if they own or know their tenants, would go after them. You think that would happen?
well, I feel like okay, where I
But they do
kind
need
of
to put pressure on the banks and federal government to do it right, and then the states to do it right, or like
the part I have an issue with is where he says if the city were to, we would be liable for all of the rents, and according to the back of napkin calculations, we wouldn't have the cash to pay for even 2 weeks of everyone's rents. And it's like, what
they have
do you?
a budget and a responsibility.
Yeah, but what do
too.
you? It's not. I mean, yeah, they're.
Why should they? They don't.
They shouldn't,
They
but
should be getting more of the tax dollars.
it's literally as if he's like that's the only solution. But it's like you can't think of some other way.
No, that's why he says no evictions.
I know they're raising money for it, but it's. I don't know.
What can
It's
he
like
say except stop the thing that they're afraid of?
right. So at what level?
What else can he do?
Right. So let's see. There was another question from someone who actually.
It's like he doesn't have all the money to help. You know how expensive.
I understand,
And then
but
LA
these
water,
people.
power,
It's like
and all that stuff. It's not like utilities and
he
stuff.
turns it into a money issue, but no one has money. Do you know what I mean?
That's why it has to be. But we paid a lot in taxes. All those LA people paid so much in taxes who
exactly.
are living there, and so. Yeah, I think if he does, it does need to be like a protest on their part.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of mayors, a bunch of governors. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what the feds can do either. Besides, get on the bank to distribute the grants and whatnot. But look how well that went last time.
I know, and the banks are running out of money. It's not like the federal government gave them any money to do any of this.
Well, they had to pay. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the whole cycle, but I know it's just like something's gonna give, and it's not gonna be pretty.
Well, okay, yeah. So let's see the next one. I mean, we already saw the honking of the horns at Mayor Garcetti's house. Like
I know, but that was so polite.
I know,
polite
but this
protest.
just started.
Maybe they realized this was gonna happen worldwide, like protests.
And so that's who started COVID-19, the government.
No. They're just saying everyone has to stay at home, but it's not really that bad. I'm just kidding. No, it's gonna be. No, so that they protest nicely.
Who?
Anybody.
Oh. Let's start ramming our cars into stuff.
I know.
Okay, so this
like
guy,
zombies.
Honeygrams, says, "Hi, Mayor Garcetti. Thanks for all that you're doing. What are the consequences for landlords who attempt to evict people right now, despite your recent order? I live in a fourplex in Hollywood and my neighbors are filmmakers. Obviously, the shutdown has affected their work and they are waiting on unemployment to kick in. They paid 75% of their rent on April 1st and our landlord posted an eviction notice in their door April 3rd without warning. Do they have recourse?" Wow. So, yeah, landlords are already starting to evict people.
Maybe the ones that this is like a great excuse.
Exactly. Where would those people have to go? They have no jobs. It's like people who are looking for an excuse to evict people, it's the perfect time. Mayor Garcetti responds, "The answer below are correct. If you receive an eviction notice that you are a suspect violates the city law, such as a notice to pay rent or quit, which is the first step in the legal process for evictions, file a complaint with the City of Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department's HCID, which is handling eviction investigations. According to HCID, in the meantime, and before the notice expires, tenants should let their landlords know the reason why they haven't paid. Parentheses, the notice will say the number of days a tenant has to act, in parentheses. Tenants advocates typically advise tenants to conduct this type of important communication with their landlord in writing, but tenants do not have to provide any documentation about their economic or health reasons they are unable to pay rent. When a complaint has been filed, it will be assigned to an HCID inspector. The inspector will review the documentation the tenant has to prove that their non-payment is related to COVID-19. If everything is in order and the proof is sufficient, the housing inspector will send the landlord a copy requesting their cancellation of their notice and alert them about the repayment period. So I guess the Housing and Community Investment Department, do all cities have that?
I think the bigger cities have more departments, like where I'm at, and I'm in an unincorporated area. It's like there's way less.
Yeah, because basically what he's saying is if you get an eviction notice, send it to this department and then prove that you're having a hard time paying, and then we'll tell them to quit it.
That's why it goes back to which I don't know if that the sheriff will come in and try to evict, because what happens when you don't have tenants that want to leave? You get the sheriff. Well, the sheriff comes in and has to give you, I think, the legal, you need to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that execute the eviction.
Yes, and I'm not sure are they doing that?
Mm-hmm.
They were like,
I mean, that's the point. Landlords are already starting the process, and sheriffs are at home with nothing to do because nobody's outside.
well, the sheriffs are outside.
No, I know,
That's
but
where all the police are. They're
I know,
not
I'm saying
they're working, I think.
they're probably. I feel like they would have time to do evictions right now. There's no one outside. Everyone's at home.
Really? Do you know? I think domestic violence and other issues are gonna be on the rise.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's at home.
And they call the police.
I know.
So they're gonna have those calls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
They're already going to houses. What makes you think they're not going to evict people?
Because
they're like, well, we're already here. Might as well evict this guy.
Waste of time.
We're already in the neighborhood.
And chief of police are also. Are
The
they voted in?
Sheriffs are voted in.
What are they called? Those
elected positions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chief of police is not an elected?
Maybe.
Unless they butt heads. Sometimes they get so political that you're like, oh my gosh, this city's not going to do anything with this group. You're just like, just because the other guy is not nice, I'm going to screw up anything he did. Oh my gosh, is that what our politics is?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look what happened between Mitt Romney and Trump.
Forget it. I don't want to know anything more about politics. I'm not going to try to. Understand people like that.
Well,
then you're just stepping out, I guess.
We'll see. The class war has just started. We'll see what happens.
It was always there.
I know, but now people are doing more stuff. Like there are strikes happening. There are did we cover the strikes?
I haven't seen anything. I thought people were being at home.
Thought I had a bunch of things.
I guess they do have other things. I don't know. With kids, it's hard to you're too tired to figure out what anyone else is doing. Maybe not. I should call some of my friends. Check up on them with kids. Wait a minute. I haven't heard from them.
I know, but
Is he okay?
Isn't it crazy that people have to choose between food and rent? That's the insane thing.
You know, that's something I think poor people have had to do for a long time.
You sound like that lieutenant or admiral.
And not that it doesn't suck. I think there needs to be a correction, and it's overdue.
I know.
I don't think that it's like that guy. I kind of want to see his first take. That what's his name? The Jimmy Dore interviewed. I suck with names. Anyways.
Dylan Ratigan.
Yes, and I want to hear him the first time around when he recognized, because Jimmy Dore was like, you were really emotional. And I'm like, I think that's how I was.
Yeah, let me get that clip.
And then when I watched The Big Short, I was like, okay, so a lot of people know what they're doing, and it's just like a game they play.
Yeah, let me get that clip really quick. I could find
That's
it.
why I was like, man, if we had money, we could have shorted it. When I said we did, we would have been making out just like some of those senators. Oh wait, but then they might have. No, but we didn't have any insider news. We just totally did it
What was?
by looking at.
You know what? I have it. God, I have it at the end of another clip.
Did you watch it? Oh, so it has.
Well, let me.
Poor Bernie Sanders. Like, why didn't they try to like make him not look like such a mad scientist?
Sorry, I need to look closer. Yeah, that was like one of the main things about him is like he just looks so unkempt. Okay, hold on.
Maybe that's what people say about me. Still mom with the messy mom bun. I didn't even know that was a name term. I was like, oh shoot, I should probably go to the hairdresser. I don't even know. I cut my own hair. Adriana's like, it's time to cut our hair again, huh? Is that a hint?
What happened?
I leave my shed pile over here and then mop it up later. Whoa, he looks so different.
This is back in 08.
Oh, okay.
Or this is a while ago. I think this was like during the first one.
There's a delivery. There's a spray bottle near the door where you can spray down. It's got a lot of alcohol. You can spray down all the boxes.
Oh, nice. Okay, let me just do that then.
Oh, we can't watch it if it's on MSNBC. Okay.
Why is so? Oh. It might be an old. It might be an old thing. Plus, it's at the end of our thing, so this can be posted as the same thing. 1080. All right, it'll take 2 minutes.
Titled An Abomination Beyond. What was it?
I think that was during the first bailout and how emotional he got.
Yeah.
And that's why you were saying you wanted to see him the first time. This is the first time.
Yeah, I wonder what people are gonna do. Again.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they like even care, I don't know. Just like keep them so preoccupied they don't notice.
That's what seems like
But
is going
now we're
on.
not preoccupied. They're trying to make them all still work.
There we go. I actually got this one.
It doesn't hurt people.
Wait, hold on. I can't pull this. What?
It says 402, and I thought.
Oh no. Margarita. Oh, that isn't the one. Oh man.
Is he a, what does he do? you read about him? He's not a reporter.
He
But
is.
he always, I'm like, he's always. Oh, he has a show.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, everyone. I'm just getting the clip ready. I found a better quality one. That's why I had to start over. All right, here we go. So this is Gilligan Radigan the first time. Let's take a look.
We owe $70 trillion.
I understand that, but
those
you
due
can't
to
sit
walk
here
out
and
a
say-
$4 trillion solution,
okay,
which is basically just a way for the Democrats to avoid dealing with this until 2017. I'm not here to talk about plans to deal with this till 2017. I'm saying we've got a real problem, and I'm tired of Republicans and Democrats who either want Republicans who want to burn the place to the ground, and Democrats, with all due respect, who want to offer a plan that gets it through their end of their second term of their presidency, and then screws me and my kids when it's over. And until we do that, we have to deal with the extraction that is at foot. It is the reason the financial markets are behaving the way they're behaving. That is a mathematical fact. This is not some opinion. This is a mathematical fact. Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America. Democrats aren't doing it. Republicans are not doing it. An entire integrated system, financial system, trading system, taxing system that was created by both parties over a period of 2 decades is at work on our entire country right now. And we're sitting here arguing about whether we should do the $4 trillion plan that kicks the can down the road for the president for 2017 or burn the place to the ground, both of which are reckless, irresponsible, and stupid. And the fact of the matter is, until we actually, and I'm sorry to lose my temper, but I tell you what, I've been coming on TV for 3 years doing this. And the fact of the matter is that there's a refusal on both the Democratic and the Republican side of the aisle to acknowledge the mathematical problem, which is that the United States of America is being extracted. It's being extracted through banking, it's being extracted through trade, and it's being extracted through taxation. And there's not a single politician that has stepped forward, Susan, to deal with
But
this.
there's only one right now. The leader of the free world, whether you like it or not, the president of the United States is arguably one of the most powerful individuals we have out there.
But
and
Susan,
he's our
what you're saying is exactly the point that Dylan is making. It's not about one guy. It's about all of them.
No, I
coming
actually
together to
disagree.
get
I think
done.
Dylan's
What
saying
is one guy?
it is about one guy.
It is about one guy.
What would you like him to do?
I
Tell me what you want him to do.
would like him to go to the people of the United States of America and say, people of the United States of America, your Congress is bought. Your Congress is incapable of making legislation on health care, banking, trade, or taxes, because if they do it, they will lose their political funding and they won't do it. But I'm the President of the United States, and I won't have a country that is run by a bought Congress. So I'm not going to work with a bought Congress and try to be Mr. Big Guy. I'm working with the bought Congress. I'm going to abandon the bought Congress like Teddy Roosevelt did, and I'm going to go to the people of the United States and I'm going to say, you've got a bought Congress. And until we get rid of the bought Congress, which is Jimmy Williams' constant point, which is get the money out of politics, and until a president says that's the problem and says he's going to fix it, there is no policy that I can possibly see, no matter how brilliant your idea may be, or your idea, or my idea, or her idea, or your idea at home, is that idea will not happen as long as there's the capacity to basically fire a politician who disagrees with me by taking funding away from him. Is that a fair assessment?
Money in politics is the root of all political evil. It is corruption at its worst. And until we step up and kick that out of the park, it's going to be the same system all
And only the president could do that. We're going to keep you guys.
The Congress has to do it too. The Congress has to do it too.
But I'll tell you what, how bad does it have to get? How much money has to be extracted? How many things have to be
Down
heard?
to brass tacks. Okay, physically, what do?
You go and give a speech
Right now.
right now.
Right now.
You say,
And then what happens tomorrow?
Tomorrow, what happens is you begin the process of actually investing in solving the problem. So I come out and I say, how? I create an infrastructure bank with 2% blending immediately. There's that. Once I explain to people the problem, once I explain to you have cancer, once you understand how screwed up your trade, tax, and banking policy policies are, believe me, you will have no issue when I incorporate an infrastructure bank that I fund with repatriated offshore money that I bring in and then use to create 2% direct lending to every business in America. Because when you realize that the banking system is fully corrupt and defrauding us, and I come out and say that, which is what I want my president to do.
Is that why they won't let the weed money in? Because all our weed is like in Cali, grown in Cali.
No, I think there are different industries that are keeping. Anyway, let's finish that. That clip's almost
Okay,
done.
sorry. Yeah. Oh, is it not?
That at that exact moment I say, you know what, we got a screwed up situation here, people. You all know it, and now what? I'm going to admit it. And as a result, not only have I admitted it, but we're going to begin the process of solving it like grown-ups. They did it in World War II. They did it after the Civil War. They did it in Latin America with the Brady bonds. We are not seeing it happen now. The panel stays a little more emotional than I anticipated getting at work this afternoon, but what am I going to do?
Wake up call, I guess.
So,
all
yeah.
of those were wake up calls.
That's what he said when he got emotional.
I
First
know.
time it
Now I
happens.
get it. So, okay, he was very angry.
Man, I know, because he was shouting it for 3 years. Can you imagine?
It's like, well, that's why I stopped trying to look into the finance stuff. I'm like, wow, some of these things are really screwed. The way we're allowing so many, like the taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Even the big cruise ships, the big corporations that are like, say they're all American. They obviously take advantage of different tax loopholes. Who wants to pay a fee if they can get out of paying it?
Yeah. I know. That's why it's
But
like
which
you can't
regular
expect.
person can get out of it? You don't
you-
ever get out of it, and then you have to wait for it to come back.
Yeah, you can't expect to solve a problem by waiting for people to give charitably.
Yeah. I mean, in some places, I think because enough people give charitably.
Can you move your mic in front of you?
Oh, if they have, if they allow it, they can make it seem like it works. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Do you think any change can happen by asking people to contribute charitably? Like even the rent strikes that are going on right now. Do you think?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like if enough
guess-
people are thrown out of their houses, like it's like in California, it's like we're trying to put homeless people in their houses, but what good is it going to do if an equal amount of people get thrown out of their houses?
Are they going to get replaced by the lower class that was barely hanging on and
Yeah.
like they were a paycheck away from homelessness or paycheck away from having to pick between food and rent? And now what? That's all right. It's here.
It's like moving to Skid Row.
I'm glad.
It's open.
At least there's like clinics. Are they keeping those open?
I don't know. I hope so.
There's I know.
How do
And
those
those
clinics get
guys,
funded?
man, through the state. Poorly. Charitable donations. Always donate to.
Like that's how the food banks are open, but how long are they going to stay open now that like they're probably at like I don't know, what do you think, 400% capacity,
I don't know, because
500%
the
capacity?
people who have enough, some of them are like, when they freak out, they just want to hoard, even though it's like.
No, but the food banks aren't necessarily
they're run
supplied
by
a hoard.
donations.
Exactly.
Hoarders or
And
people
too
who are
many-
very savers or people who have been in war time. Like, you don't have to be a hoarder, like, in a bad sense. Just that's your natural reaction when shit hits the fan. I mean, like, when you panic, you know?
But the issue is
So they don't
what
normally,
happens,
they cut off their charitable donations.
What happens when the demand outpaces the amount of charitable donations? Like, you know, like we saw
Does that
those.
follow the regular rules of economics?
I mean, you saw people in like bread lines, like during
Do
the Great
people
Depression.
more-
Like, what do you know, how bad do you think? Like, we think we're so far removed from that, but then we're actually not that far away from the federal government needing to intervene.
No. But there really was no supply. The thing that sucks is, what if
Yeah, what if the
What if
food
they're
banks
just
run out?
holding
That's what
back-
we're asking. What if the food banks run out? Where does the supply come from after that happens?
they loot the markets? The supermarkets and stuff? They're still being supplied.
Yeah,
They
I
just
know.
don't have the money
Will we
to pay.
see? Yeah, well, we see just like people.
If they're paying their
having-
rent and they don't have money for food and the food banks run out, then they're going to loot the markets. They're nuts.
Yeah, is that the kind
They
of
don't know how to
revolt?
grow it,
We're
or
just gonna
I'm going to start
see-
growing it right now.
We're
We
just
run
gonna
out of
see
money, I'll just
people
grow it.
stealing in mass.
I don't know. Who knows? They'll just, I guess, copy the rich.
It's like you stole from us, we're gonna steal from Kroger's.
They're like, technically. Everything's all done on technicalities anyway, so.
I know, they're like, our stealing is legal. Because we stacked the Supreme Court.
It was interesting. He said the thing about Congress being bought, though, because I'm like, yeah, that's how, I guess.
Yeah, that's why we're in a never-ending war.
And
that
not
costs
only
us
that,
over
why-
$500 billion a year.
I was like, why did both Bernie and AOC then vote for that bill, the stimulus package or whatever?
Maybe because they were going on break and they were like, we need to get something out before we go on break. We're going to stay up until 4 a.m. and
Oh,
make a
yeah.
big deal about it because we're going to take 3.5 weeks off.
Or they got money from all their lobbyists. I mean, not money, calls. Everyone's like, call your representative. And it's like, who do they really listen to, though?
I know. Susan Collins doesn't listen to anyone.
Who's Susan Collins?
I forgot. I don't know why I know her name. I remember she voted for something that was really controversial, and it was like people were really angry at her.
Oh, because she... Wasn't it she decided not to vote?
You might be thinking Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh. Because they can vote yay or nay, but they can also say they're not voting.
Why did Susan Collins gamble her legacy on Trump? I think she voted for something on.
I know. I heard her name and I heard the complaining, but I was like, I don't.
Let's see what's in the news.
Oh, it's almost our
I
420.
know, we're almost there, everyone.
It's raining so much. My back feels like it's
I guess this
creaking.
is kind of breaking. We talk about this.
What happened? Breaking news.
God damn! I wish there was a source. Well, I guess we'll just tweet it here.
Oh, I know. I was like, uh-oh. The first one that said he got it. I mean, the first... I think he's obese too, isn't he?
Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who is suffering from coronavirus, has been admitted to intensive care as his condition has worsened. Can you imagine if he passes away from this?
I don't know.
That's...
Maybe none of our old
She
people are
nuts.
going to make it through their presidency in this next term.
Yeah, he's had it for day 10. I mean, for over 10 days now.
Yes, that's why he went to the fever wouldn't go away. But I thought it can go till 19 days. Why doesn't President Trump get him some hydroquinone?
Hydroxychloroquine?
Plaquenil. I'm just gonna call it Plaquenil. That's what's on my... It's, yeah, we have like 129 million units. No?
We have 29 million units.
Oh. I'm sure.
Well, at least they're being
I'm
open
sure
and-
that's enough.
Well, he hasn't been put on a ventilator, but I guess when that happens, it will be big news.
Yeah, well, oh my goodness. Well, at least he gets the best of care. Oh. This is why they don't want to test people.
You can only pretend that the economy is doing so well till it bites you in the corona hole.
Well, I don't know. People are good at just like getting back at it.
Well,
in the same old way.
There's only one thing to do. This one goes out to you, Boris Johnson.
I know. We hope
you feel
you
better.
make it out.
It's so sad.
I know. Now everyone's gonna feel bad for making fun of him.
Well, he did push for Brexit in the beginning.
Oh, and then how now they're like trying to help get EU through the
And they're like, why
Brussels, whatever, to get money, or I think money to help with repatriate, for like getting people back in from Peru, US, and other places.
Yeah, I wonder how the South American countries are doing.
I don't know. Is anyone reporting over there? Too much news. I'm still trying
Hey,
to.
it's not 420 yet.
Oh my gosh! I was practicing. I am high, then I guess. I just feel like my back is creaking. That's why I brought the edibles to help through the rain.
All right, well, let's. I guess let's put up that thing again.
Yeah, the skin on my hands gets scaled.
3, 2, 1. Happy 420.
Yay!
This is for
So there's 4 joints in 4 hours.
4 joints in 3 hours, yeah. Because we
Oh,
start
in
one
3
and we
hours.
end with one. This is for you, everyone
Here's
in the UK.
to Cali weed.
And everyone who knows anyone.
Oh, in the UK.
that
This
might
is for
be
you,
affected.
420 UKers. I always wanted to. I've only gone to Heathrow Airport. And I remember thinking, wait, I thought they spoke English.
It's like,
Sorry.
you're the one not speaking
Yeah.
English.
I was like, oh.
How dare you.
Dang it. I went to Spain, and even though they speak
You know the
UK English,
Uh-huh.
because they're not so confident in the English, it's a lot slower.
Mhm.
So it sounds more like, like London news. They kind of slow it down. They make
Right.
it more, they pronunciate.
John Oliver
Uh-huh.
once said that he can't watch the Great British Bake Off, or is that what it's called? One of the really popular British baking shows. Our sister loves it, and he said he couldn't watch it because it reminds him too much about how repressed British people are, and it gives him PTSD, and
Repressed. Like the way they're so subtle about everything.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know British culture at all. That's why it surprised me because I was like, huh? Like you don't really.
I haven't seen it, but
you don't really realize that British people are repressed, or maybe I don't know.
isn't that why they left? I mean, they can't like call.
No, sure, yeah. You think
they were like, we need to find somewhere else.
Yeah, because they still have like a pseudo monarchy. Henry and
Even he. Wow.
Henry and.
He was like, screw this.
Who was the?
I'm tired of being polite.
Who was the American part of the relation? Meghan Markle. They left. They moved to Canada. Maybe that's a signal that everyone.
Yeah, they're like, this is the middle ground.
Maybe all
America's
Americans.
kind of crazy.
Well, it is.
She was like, I don't want to go back there, and he's like, well, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, maybe American politics are just as crazy as British politics.
Yeah, they're like, you were supposed to make something different, not make it 10 times worse.
Both controlled by Cambridge Analytica.
No, they changed their name.
To
Not that anyone even remembers Cambridge Analytica and what
Emerdata.
they're. Oh, Emerdata.
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 I know. It's just stupid.
Now they're gonna come after us. The governments won't kill you, but the corporations might.
Good. That's why we're on YouTube.
Come find us.
No.
We're
Oh,
gonna
fine.
talk shit all day. Oh, should I stop cursing? Another
No,
thing,
it's
if I
fine.
smoke a lot, I end up like just.
PewDiePie curses in his videos, and he
I
has
can't.
100
Does
million
he
followers.
smoke?
No.
I
So
think it's ridiculous. Like the kids and everything, they hear it anyways.
the
Does it
cursing-
lose its value? I guess if they hear it too young or something, or
No.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't think so. It's the same word.
I don't know why. I think American. So he says repressed there, but I find Americans are repressed in other ways, like severely, like so censored and treated like children in certain aspects. No.
I guess America's such a big place
That's true.
with so many different people. It's like you can find different.
But
Americans.
culturally, there is a difference compared to like UK or.
Well,
other
yeah,
European,
UK
or,
is
like,
smaller and more homogenous. That's what I'm saying. The US is so big and different that it's much easier to have a much closer social culture that applies to everyone than it is to have here in America. Like if you're in like UK, Germany, like Holland,
I think
Japan.
everyone in America would understand like federal stuff, like the healthcare system, the banking, insurance stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like uniquely American, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are American that totally applies
Yeah.
to everybody in America, but applies to absolutely nobody
Oh,
in the
right.
rest of the world.
Yeah, same thing with China. They have a big population that only
I
applies
know,
to
but I'm
them.
saying so.
And Russia.
Yeah,
Brazil.
That's why I said Americans,
Right.
because I'm not trying to generalize, but there is some kind of
There is like a
generalization
class.
due to
There's class repression
being
that
in
you
America.
see, I think, in big populations. I think that's what you mean, or that's a type of blanket repression that we feel. If you're not like in the top 1% or like top 20% or whatever
Yeah, there's
it
like
is.
a lot of stuff that they talk about that a lot of outsiders don't understand. But we can watch as Americans that kind of news, that whole national news, and we can understand what they're talking about. I've had to explain to a lot of people what like health insurance is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
and
is like they're like,
yeah, a lot of places.
and only then did I realize that there's a problem.
Yeah.
When you have to explain it to outsiders, and then you bring it down to a level where you're like, wait a minute. And then it's like, oh, things are kind of messed up. But I guess that's the thing. You never really fully had to understand certain things unless you're like kind of meant or forced to teach it.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about, I never learned how to study correctly per se, because in the US, I learned how to just pass the tests. But in Cuba, they teach in a whole different way. And yeah, I learned how to study there way better because I was forced to like teach my classmates or help them understand.
Yeah.
Because they felt I understood it more or whatever. And I was like, whoa, this is a better way to really reinforce. Because in Cuba, it's communist. So we don't buy our books and take our books. You only get issued it for 1 year, that year. And then the next class. So all the, at least our Cuban classmates were like, what are you doing? They're just like, you take notes. You basically copy it by hand or you memorize it. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
you
how
know-
are we gonna do that? And we all had to find our own ways to
And you
get
know-
that information in our head. Like,
Going back to what you were saying about, or what we were talking about health, like how you were having to describe health insurance. It's like John Oliver, I think he was on Stephen Colbert's show, and he's like, yeah, people complain. One of the arguments about not going to a Medicare for all system is that the wait time increases.
I
And-
know. Miguel was like, oh, remember the lines you had to wait in? I'm like, but I got everything done there. Everything was done. Who cares if there was a line?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's like,
everyone needs healthcare.
I don't get a bill like this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know, we gotta show
This
that
is
tomorrow.
that bill. I remind him. You don't remember?
It's a $1 million bill for a homeless lady.
Yeah, I was like, do you remember when I freaked out? I got an infection in my eye.
Yeah.
And they drove me in an ambulance to Havana. And I was like, wait. I just got here. I don't have insurance. And they're like, what's insurance? And then the U.S. Classmate who was translating, she's like, don't worry. They'll get you diagnose and they'll get your medicine. That's how they do their medicine here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then I had some other, when I got there, I was like, I got so many infections and stuff. And
Yeah.
they gave me all the stuff I needed.
Yeah. So the UK apparently.
And I didn't get a bill like that.
John Oliver is just like, the wait is not an issue. Like,
Mhm.
you guys should like.
Can you keep them alive? Like wait's only an issue if you're like emergency room. But if you actually look at our emergency rooms, there's long wait times.
Yep.
Right?
So good thing Boris Johnson has good. I guess they're not the
Healthcare.
UK now. They're just Britain.
Oh, did we go back to that?
I don't know. Are they
I don't know.
a kingdom
I know.
anymore?
I can't remember what
Well,
people changed their names.
whatever their Royal Health Care Service is, I'm sure it's great.
Oh, National Health NHS.
Is that them?
Nope.
Is that them or Canada?
I think NHS is UK. I don't know. They both got some good.
Yeah, anyone who has a nationalized health service, anyone whose healthcare is run by the government, which is arguably the best entity to run a healthcare service because it's just it's the biggest entity in a country. It's the country.
I think
And
the
so-
government should and help regulating a system or in placing a system when it should be a socialist system when it relies on the whole society to
Yeah, like
to create a good system.
Like our army. Can you imagine if the US made an army like they made our privatized health insurance? Like they just had private armies that they hire to do jobs?
Isn't that what police departments are?
No, police departments are public. Those are run by the local governments.
Oh.
Yeah, even police departments. Can you imagine police departments if your local government had to hire like their local like vigilante group and
Like in the Wild West. It's like how we had
well,
to
it's like it's kind of like how sheriffs have their posses. A sheriff gets to hire
deputies.
Yeah, right. I think they're
They're called
legally
deputies.
no. I think it's illegally called a posse.
The group of deputies and
Yeah, that they get to kind of roll with. Like,
Yeah, sheriff
imagine
put
if there was
guns in Miguel's head.
privatized
Can I
sheriff
get a picture of
sheriff
that
force
sheriff?
and privatized firefighters. Could you imagine?
Privatized?
Yeah,
That's how it originally was.
I
They
understand.
wanted
but
to
like,
make a more efficient system, and the government set
imagine getting
to put the blocks.
imagine getting a bill because you needed the police to come over one time.
Privatized roads, you would get.
Exactly, you get a toll every time you use the road.
Argentina, I think, has a big problem with that. Like toll after toll after toll after toll because they all are owned by different
See, yeah, it's
private,
another.
and it's like if you want public roads, then you pay into it. The problem is they're able to tell us you want this, right? You want this, so you pay in taxes. But then it's like, wait, how come we all pay in taxes, but you're only fixing those ones, or you're
Yeah.
only,
Yeah.
and they're reappropriating them,
I know,
not in a
the
way
US highway
that.
system is so great. You can drive
Yes.
anywhere in the
That's
US.
why I'm like, wow,
Amazing.
we connected all the 50 states.
Yeah.
Even though we sometimes act very separate on issues, it's like, wow, there's a system that brings us
Yeah,
all
I could
together.
I could
like,
hop
at
on the
least.
15 and drive straight to Utah. I can hop on the 10, drive all the way to
We should do
You could
that.
drive all the way to Florida.
We'll
It's
be like, let's just
it's
do
amazing.
the family on wheels thing. And we'll have 2 vehicles if we can do it, right?
All right. Well, the point was, good luck to Boris Johnson. Good
Oh,
thing you
yes.
have great healthcare over there, and we wish you a speedy recovery. And also everyone who is suffering from COVID-19.
I know.
Good luck. We'll be smoking for you.
I hope the Plaquenil works.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope
yeah, if
anything,
anything
works, so that we might not need something stops it so that it's done.
Well, we
At
can't.
day
Our
20, no
economy,
ventilators.
our economy doesn't get back together until we get something to
That's
stop
what I'm saying.
it. until it's
Everybody
gone.
wants it to be done and over with. Everyone's a sack of meat and flesh.
I know it's
at
like
the end
Independence
that
Day, but the
host-
aliens are really tiny. We need Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum to do the job.
It's a healthcare crisis. We need to fix our healthcare system.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Here's burning one for the U.S. healthcare. God have mercy. Let us pivot correctly.
And if you don't have health insurance, I guess just smoke weed.
Hey, Trump passed the act. Are we gonna cover that?
Yeah, we'll cover it tomorrow.
Okay.
I know. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Remember, if you don't have buds, we're your buds.
Smoke with us.
See ya.